Valentine's Day. We're having a conversation earlier in the newsroom, and Sam Oracle Chinedu said, people have removed the saint in the Valentine's Day. Everybody's been screaming Valentine's Day, and the conversation is bordering on something else, you know? When people hear Valentine's Day, they are thinking something different. There's no saints anymore. What happened to the saint? Anyway, that's tomorrow, though. Today is World Radio Day and Condom Day. But I'm not going to have conversations around any of those. So, you know, moving on. Great to have you on the show, by the way. But it will be a nice one. I mean, if I talk about radio a little bit, I mean, if I don't talk about radio, what's in it I want to talk? We did radio, right? Yes, exactly. So from the first practical wireless radio, you know, sometimes we look at things and we think in the world when it started, it was a particular way. No, the very first one, wireless radio, was developed by Guglielmo Marconi in 1895. I mean, since that time till date, radio is still the one and only most efficient, most cost-effective, cheapest. I think it's the same thing, but I'm just looking for other ways to say the same thing. So it's still the same cheapest medium for information dissemination. You don't need to have data to access a radio station. You don't need to. But there are radio stations that you have to, you know, you still need data to access. But generally speaking, you don't need to have data. You don't even need to have airtime on your mobile device. Right? It's amazing. You don't even need to have a phone, a smartphone, to access a radio station or to access radio stations. The cheapest Balasa phone can actually give you access to radio, and you get information that you don't even need to pay for. So this year, the world is marking Radio Day with the theme Radio and Climate Change. And so the idea is to focus on the role that radio plays in, you know, passing crucial information about climate change and also amplifying the voices of those advocating for environmental sustainability and promoting eco-friendly practices. Beautiful. So it was in 2020 that the commercial radio broadcasting marked 100 years, so 100th anniversary. And then last year, 2024, was 100 years of radio in Africa. So this is year 101. It's a beginning of good things. Okay, so what are we discussing today on the show? Let's see. We'll be talking about grandparents spoil grandchildren. Yeah, I came across a video yesterday on Facebook. It's not the first time I'm seeing that video. I've seen that video a couple of other times, but yesterday it struck a nerve. It stuck. And so here we are having a conversation. So in the video, it was quite short. The lady, whoever it is, captioned it, me coming to pick my child from my from my parents' house. And the little boy was just lounging, you know, he laid on the floor, or perhaps there was a pillow, I think. There was a pillow or something. You know, he was just lying down there with one leg raised, and his grandmother was, you know, giving him some manicure kind of treatment. And then, which one is manicure? Which one is pedicure? Man, is it the hand? Or anyway, let me speak the one I know. Then I can check to see if I'm correct. So she was fixing his toenails, all right? While the grandfather was putting some fruits in his mouth. It looked like strawberries or something. And people were just talking, you know? I read through the comments, and it was just beautiful reading through those comments. And that's why we are here today having this conversation. So there's this saying that grandparents spoil their grandchildren. Maybe you're even one of those people who have said this as well. Some people just believe that grandparents treat their grandkids with more love. They are even more lenient. They're very patient with those young ones than they did with their own children. I mean, when they had their children were also children. It's not like they gave birth to Adam and Eve. They gave birth to kids. And while they were kids, they were getting all of that kind of attention. They were not getting all of that. Yeah, there were times when, nice, they're sweet. But it wasn't like as much as the grandparents are giving these grandchildren. Now, there are those who actually believe that this is because, aging has a thing it does, with people's focus. By focus, I mean what they prioritize. And so they soften with age. So that's on one hand, or maybe they're just also trying to make up for past mistakes. Some of them were too busy as parents and they didn't have time to shower all that love on their kids. So when the kids come forth with grandchildren, it's like, yes, opportunity to make up for what I did not, do when I was supposed to do it. So there is another person, an extension of my son or daughter, where I can pour out all that love that I didn't pour out on her. Now, there are also some people, because I read through those comments, some people even said it was loneliness that makes grandparents to become more loving and lenient with their grandkids. By loneliness, this is what they mean. You were too harsh, screaming and shouting, punishing and disciplining in quotes and everything. And your own kids, they couldn't wait to leave the house. Now they've all gone. Nobody's ready to come and stay with you. And so they're trying to, this time around there's nobody, right? And so the opportunity they have with their grandkids, they try not to scare them away. And of course, there's also the joy of bonding with a new generation. So we're going to be exploring the different reasons behind this special grandparents, grandchild, or grandchildren relationship. And so I'm asking, the topic is grandparents spoil grandchildren. It sounded like some essay topic, right? You can speak for or against. So do you agree that grandparents spoil grandchildren? Do you agree or do you disagree? Let's have your strong argument. All right. And then second of all, what has been your experience with grandparents? And I'm putting it this way because it might not be your grandparents. It might be something you've witnessed happen, with another person. It could be your children and their grandparents. So that's why I'm asking, what has been your experience with grandparents? All right. So let's talk now. Get on Facebook. We're live there, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. And send a message via WhatsApp to 0809-030-6416. At 1 o'clock, we'll bring you the news. That's trending stories. And after trending stories, there's something 5 minutes at 1:10. So after that, we'll come back and finish up this conversation. Then at 1:10, we'll make way for these people. I think Rima, they have something at 1:10. 1:30 rather, but it's not for long. It's just for 10 minutes. And then 2 o'clock, we have the news update. And after the news update, we'll talk about another thing that has been making so much buzz on social media. Vitamin C. All right, so that will be the conversation for Mind, Body and Soul today. So let's talk about grandparents spoil grandchildren. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0002, or 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0007. And remember to send me that message via WhatsApp. I would like to read from you, or better still, send a comment on our Facebook page. Innocent from Port Harcourt. Good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon. Yeah, my name is Innocent from Port Harcourt.
Okay.
Now, grandparents spoil grandchildren. I won't say 100% that's true. Because if you ask me, how long do they stay with their grandparents? Naturally, the parents are supposed to take care of the children. So if they are staying with the grandparents maybe 1 month or 2 months, as the case may be, what they will learn from the grandparents is not actually a totality of their character. So their character formation depends wholly on their parents who will actually take care of them. So I think it's just that the grandparents want to show love to the children. And apart from that, it's a way of stress reduction. Because of their loneliness, they are always staying alone. And they have a way of trying to reduce stress by showing excessive love to the children, playing with them always. And that's my take. Thank you. Sir Innocent is my name.
Okay. Thank you. Hello, Sarah. Go on, please. Your voice is quite low. What's going on? Are you using an earpiece, headphone? You can unplug it.
No.
All right. It's afternoon. We're listening.
Okay. For grandparents and grandkids, it depends. It really depends because some grandparents, they do spoil some grandchildren. Why she's always against, like, she's really like the grandmother, like some I do see that do support their grandchildren.
Okay. I think it's a network problem. I can't really hear everything you're saying.
Okay. I'll call back later.
All right. Thank you. Please do. And when you call, add some energy. Thank you. 0817-923-0002. 0817-923-0003. We're discussing grandparents spoil grandchildren. Are you agreeing with this notion or are you against it? Let's hear from you. If you are a grandparent as well, please call in and let us know. Do you feel like you're spoiling your grandchildren or you're just being a grandparent? You know, like someone said yesterday that when he was criticizing the president while he was with an opposition political party, he was just doing the job of opposition. So perhaps he's just doing the job of a granny. I mean, like, am I supposed to beat them? I'm their grandparent. I'm their grandmother. I'm supposed to be loved. They're supposed to run to me when their mother shouts at them. I'm just doing my job. Grandparents spoil grandchildren. And if you have had any experience with your, either your grandparents or what you've seen them do to your own kids or with your kids, and you can testify to the fact that they spoil children, please do share. Or your testimony is that, no, they don't. In fact, my mother beats my children so much. All right, we'd also like to hear from you. Real Gifts. What are they saying in your community? Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon to you, my lady.
Good afternoon.
Well, I will not reach my community today, sir.
Why not? What's happen? No get transport.
Exactly. You're always in the spirit, even though you know they go spiritual church.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
You know, we are told in my community that if you take advantage of a blowing wind and they push down a plantain tree beside the house, when people come out, they will blame it on the wind. That's always say grandparents, they spoil their children. Now, the ones who maybe their grandparents know, they understand my point now. The video you watch is because that particular grandparent can afford what they are giving to that child, the time and also the good life.
Okay.
Everybody craves for good life for themselves and also for their offspring and what have you. Grandparents not spoil grandchildren. With the small experience I don't get for about 3 weeks now with my own granddaughter, they know they spoil grandchildren. They take care of the children with love. You know, just like you said earlier, sometimes they now have ample time to stay with these grandchildren or to spend with these grandchildren. Unlike in their younger days, with what they spent with their own children as a result of business or whatever. So, giving them a good life, not be spoiling. So, if you can afford it, give them the best you can offer. I think grandparenting is a good one. I don't want to tell you the experience I get with my own those days, because if I tell you, you're not going to want to hear the testimony complete, because you're not too good. Thank you very much, my lady.
All right. Thank you, Real Gift. Hello, Muriel from Okrika. Welcome aboard. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. MC, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy World Radio Day to you.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you. Well, actually, for me, grandparents, I grew up with my grandmother.
Oh.
And then for me, what I think is they will just be as, they don't change, they don't really change. Who a parent is, who a person is, doesn't really change. My grandmother was not all that petty kind of thing. The strong hand she used in training her children is the same thing, though. But it does that for you. Anything you want, there's a way they will be a little bit lenient. But it depends on who the person is. A person that is a disciplinarian is always, maybe that strength, that she had or he or she had when they were younger, they will be weak a bit. They are a bit stable now. Now they can't use that same strength.
They cannot pursue you when you are running.
Yes, so they can't use all that energy now. They are now weak. But trust me, a disciplinarian is always a disciplinarian. My grandmother was a disciplinarian. She was. Though she was a bit, she was old too, but she was. But whatever you want, she will be kind. No, she's more nicer, more. She just takes you. Like there's a way she was treating me, but she was a disciplinarian with her children and with me.
Okay.
So it depends on who the person is. I say a leopard does not change his skin, but they are very, very, but you see that they still scold. Even my mother still scolds her children. She's just like her mother. So she's disciplined, but the love is excess. Sometimes I beg, I say, please, money, don't give, just give, fine. But don't, I try to contain it as much as we can. We'll try to contain it, because if you leave them, they will just spoil the children for you, and nobody will say, see, your grandmother not train you well. Now your mother not train you well, then go talk. I keep telling my mother, I say, Mommy,
yeah.
It is me all they will blame, so allow me. Let me just say, don't be beating too much, don't be shouting, but she does. But I try to control. As much as we can, we should control, because if we allow them, they will spoil. But
okay.
I think a disciplinarian is always a disciplinarian. They don't.
All right. Thank you very much, Muriel. Mr. Zion.
Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, sir. Please go on.
At least from experiences, I'll tell you wholeheartedly that grandparents are just being grandparents. I don't want to use the word they spoil their children or their grandchildren.
Okay.
But literally, if we should interpret it, we'll say yes, they do that. But for the benefit of this discourse, I will put it in this way, that the urgency they apply to their own kids, they don't surface that one to their grandchildren. They don't. When I say a practical example from me now, my mom is disciplined in capital letter. She will tell you out straight up. Now only the owner of the okra who bends the okra. But when the grandchildren started coming, this same lioness, this particular person,
Can't they behave like sheep?
oh my goodness me!
Oh my
Leave
God.
them. Please, can you allow them to play? Really? Mama, you just spoil the children. They go. Who told you? Mama, where were your kids? Were you treating us like this?
Mm-hmm.
Were you pampering us like this? She will laugh. These grandkids will now gain more ego. Digital grandma. Start hailing her. Ashimamu will be laughing. The truth is this. I found out that the grandparents have this reflection of their children on the grandchildren. They also reflect themselves on the grandchildren. That is why they are so meticulous, so careful with these grandchildren.
Okay.
And I found out that they understood these grandchildren even more than we that are the parents of these children. So let me just put it in a just real word that grandparents are just being grandparents.
Okay.
They are ready to cash Nigeria and dash with their grandchildren. I dash with Nigeria. Grandparents are ready to do that.
All right.
We love all our grandmoms, Mr. Zion.
Thank you, Mr. Zion. Hello, JJ from Port Harcourt Town. Welcome aboard.
Yes, so my sister, good afternoon or morning.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, so. See, I want to support the motion that says grandparents spoil grandchildren.
Oh, yeah, give us your following points.
See, my sister, I grew up with my grandmother.
Oh.
And I can never be wrong. Never. No matter the offense I commit outside, if your hand touch me, my grandmother will come fight you.
Wow.
Even when I took my own children to the village, to my mother, at the time, we were supposed to stay for 1 week, 5 days. I don't back say everybody, oh, yeah, let's go. We can't continue this way. They
what
were
happened?
growing wings that they cannot use to fly.
Wow.
When you want to touch anybody, moms will say, no, you can't do that. But I know what it is. All of them, they like children. And don't forget that before this old grand thing begin to come, everybody don't leave the house. So the house don't empty for them, two of us. So when they come in now without their character, children have their own special character. They begin to see some of those things they see in you. So tend to protect them from you because it's like this one a lion, make them not shop this my children. So they protect and overprotect them, pamper, not be small things. So for me, because of that love, because they now have new friends, they don't see them as grandchildren, no. They now see them as that small friend that need to be protected from the lion, and they overprotect them at the end of the day. They can never be wrong, just like me then. I can never be wrong. At the time, my father said, look, you are leaving this place.
Wow.
I was growing wings that I cannot use to fly. So they do.
Okay.
Then they protect them too much.
All right. Thank you very much, JJ. Emmanuel from Port Harcourt, I'll come to you. Okay. I'll come back to this message here. Emmanuel, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm Emmanuel calling from Port Harcourt. Hello?
We're listening.
Okay, I want to speak on the topic. And I'm speaking from first-hand experience.
Okay.
Okay, the thing is this. I grew up with my grandma, and because of that, I got to notice something. She actually had no male issue. She only had female issues. So when my mom gave birth to my elder brother out of wedlock, the excitement of having a male child in her family was so much that she over-pampered this boy.
Wow.
She could afford anything because then she was doing well in her business. So she gave this child whatever the child requested. And she continued in that manner till the child became grown up to become a man. And when she could no longer afford to give the child all that the child requires when the child is grown up, the child became desperate to get those things, thereby engaging in things he was not supposed to engage in just so that he can continue in that lifestyle which he has been used to while growing up, which was given to him by my grandma. So I want to say that it goes both ways. In some other way, some grandparents that had made errors, that felt that maybe they didn't teach their children the right way, will want to make amends by being more being more strict with their grandchildren, just so that they will try to avoid any mistake they felt they made while raising their own kids. So I think it goes both ways. There is no definite one as to if they spoil or if they don't spoil. So that is my own humble opinion.
All right. Thank you very much, Emmanuel, for calling. Dave on WhatsApp says, yes, for me, it's affirmative. I'm a living example. I grew up with my grandmother, and it was by His grace that I did not go the other way. The love was too much. I wasn't ever wrong in her opinion. Their intentions are not to spoil, but it turns out so in some cases. Dave. All right. Thank you very much, Dave. Remember, we're also taking your messages, so you can send them via WhatsApp to 0809 030 6416 or drop a comment on Facebook, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. A grandmother at my back here beats her grandchild of 2 years whenever he misbehaves. Ordinarily, the main mother will pamper the son. the kind Gen Z mothers we have now are the ones spoiling their children, not the grandmothers. In other hand, I was going inside the market last week and saw an old woman of 70s giving breast to a baby of less than 1 year. She said, I almost vomited because I stopped and questioned why she was breastfeeding the baby. And she said the mother is not around and the baby is crying. So she has to breastfeed her with her empty breast. I almost vomited. I cannot support this one from a grandmother. Michael Numos. Oh, you are even a man. Why didn't I look at your name first? All right, thank you very much, Michael, for that one. That's what some of them actually do. I've heard about that. I've heard about that myself. Some of them do that when they have the kids with them because the baby's crying, right? And perhaps the mother did not express breast milk for the child. And so there's nothing to give the child if you bring anything. And some babies actually would not take the bottle. Even when breast milk has been expressed, they will not take it. They still want to feel breasts. Anyway, let's hear from you now. Grandparents spoil grandchildren. That's the topic. And I'm asking you to bring your strong argument. Do you agree or disagree? And what has been your experience with grandparents? It might be your direct experience or the experience you have seen with what they are doing with your children. Or like the person who just texted, it could be a neighbor. What have you seen? All right? Grandparents spoil grandchildren. Now, I mentioned something before now, something about aging and how aging affects parenting, right? I mean, because they've grown older. So their approach to parenting kind of like changes. So even the one that is seen as disciplinarian, yeah, I might still do all of that, but not as much as they would have done it maybe like 10, 20 years before that time, or even 30 years before that time. So those ones that used to be strict, now they're very understanding grammar, very soft grammar. There are so many reasons for this shift. Like we've heard from even JAJ, who says, it's too much. The kids were beginning to grow wings that will not let them fly. Hello? Ooh, all right. Do well to call back. Thank you very much. Grandparents spoil grandchildren. Do you agree or do you disagree? And let's not also forget that, of course, when people age, health-wise, physically speaking, they're no longer as strong as they used to be. Yeah, it's just a natural thing. And so they become more relaxed. Excuse me. And some of them, if not most of them, are expected to have retired. So they're not doing the 9 to 5. They're not working as hard as they used to, except for those that's normal. They just do like work. All right. And so they're also not stressing about discipline that much anymore. They've seen it all. They've seen how you put in all the work, all the attention, all the correction, and then a child grows up to do what they want to do and make you look like you did not even correct them for once in their lives. And so when they see another child, they're like, anyhow you do how he chooses or how she chooses to live is in their hands. It's not necessarily in your hands. So I beg, don't beat that child. Leave him. You yourself, were you not behaving like that as a child? After all the corrections, have you changed? Leave him alone. Stop beating those children. Hello, are you there? What's your name?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name?
Yes, I'm calling from the group.
All right, go on.
Oh, yes. Please, I'm out now to teach against that topic that grandparents spoil children. I am not in support of it.
Why not?
My reasons are, number one, when I was growing up, I grew with my grandmother, who took proper care of me very well. Most of the qualities I possess today that are leading me to become useful in my life, I got them from my grandmother. Before I went back to my mother and my father, I had grown and became a useful human being. That is number one.
Okay.
Number two is that we cannot deviate from the advice given to us by the Holy Book, Bible. we learned that Timothy has qualities today that people remember him. We talk about Timothy because of the quality he got from his grandmother, Lois. So all these things will be points that will help us to see that grandparents, most of them are useful and quality grandparents. It depends on individuals. There are those who are so over-pampered their grandchildren. But in a real sense, grandparents are very useful because they are so sympathetic.
All right. Thank you so much. But I have to let you go now. We've got the news afterwards, but we'll wrap this up. All right? Just stay tuned.